And we have Dr. Rao from Texas. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. And just like Shaba, hello to the citizens of this global village now, right?
And we have Mr. King too. Let's see. Hi, Mr. King. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, good to see you, man. Good to see you. So first of all, I'll start with honoring Mr. King, and he's with us, and he'll be given an award for his special role in the elections, making sure all the seniors vote. And congratulations, Mr. King.
Thank you. Thank you. Very historic moment in
Snap
DC.
fingers.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah.
sig-
He
a
got
very
probably 20,000 seniors or more. He put them to make sure they voted, right?
yes,
Wow.
yes. There's
Very
special
good.
those that were assisted living. There was about 1,800, 2,200 in nursing homes, group homes. There were another 3,000, and in public and private senior housing was over 15,000. So I'm very excited about. I chaired the Ward 5 Dems senior COVID-19 commission. And the numbers were staggering, and they seemed to go in terms of those who were blind and crippled, functionally literate, cane walkers, and wheelchairs. So I'm very happy in addition to the drop boxes we saw around the country. The seniors and apartment buildings had what they call containers, and they were allowed to go for about 3 hours in the board elections, came and picked up those containers. Part of that, we were doing voter registration. So going into the 21st century, seniors will not have to be in apartment buildings. The only public transportation would be the elevators. And this is a huge victory, because again, for those who are in wheelchairs, those who are blind and homebound, and of course this will cause the senior population vote to turn out extremely high. As you know, there's 700,000 residents in District of Columbia. 70% of those are the elders of the village. So I'm very excited about the national board of elections. Spike Lee say do the right thing. And also I called the Neighbors Project after Congressman John Lewis was in trouble. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just for audience, I just want to tell that Mr. King is one of few who has passed maximum resolutions under his name when he was with the DC Council, right, Mr. King?
That's correct.
So
Yeah,
we
I've
are
had
honored to actually have such a big guy in the history, Black lives, and he has done so much for Washington DC. It's amazing.
since I started my journey back in '68, I was fortunate enough to had an opportunity to march with Dr. King, and also I interacted with Stokely Carmichael. So I did a lot of work. When I left, was in college as a freshman. I had a chance to come back to a community that I was born and raised in, and make a substantial contribution. And at my age now, I'm still doing DOTV. There's no one in there. If you check the DC and ask, the article called me the Garden of Angels, and I appreciate that. I do King and Associates, and I do contracts for all the mayors and everybody run at large, and the senior's been my lane. I don't get anybody else's lane, because you might cause an accident, so I stay in my lane.
Thank you, Mr. King. And then let's start welcoming Dr. Anwar Masood from Maryland. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How's everybody?
Good.
Hi, how you doing?
No, doing good, doing good.
Okay, so let's get a reaction first from. Let's start with Sheba. Sheba, if you recall, I told you Florida will go to Trump. You know, I know you were saddened by that, but you saw that he won. I told you at that time.
Yeah, but I also told you that the math doesn't add up for Trump to win the final election. So I think we're both right. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, it's sad for me to see that Florida is still a red state, and we are, we're still on the same wavelength that we have since, the last election. So that means there is a lack of growth and lack of, open-mindedness. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I was disappointed. But I think now we're past that. We're looking at the future, and now Biden is our president and elect. Let's be politically correct here, and we're happy. But at the same time, we're looking at all these different reactions, and it's just like there is madness beyond madness that we cannot understand. I mean, those of us, I think, who have a sense of common sense, like some rationale in us, we're really struggling to try to understand what the heck is going on and where are we heading with this mindset. So it's a happiness that didn't, come. It's not finalized because we're dealing with so much nonsense that it's blocking that joy. It's like an energy that's not able to just fully blossom because it's like we are dealing with so much nonsense, and we'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I can understand. So, Dr. Sabahat, I know you're driving, and Taiku was still coming on our show. So, tell me a little. I hope you are driving safely. So, just give us your take on the election.
Yes, as we talked in, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. As you remember, in last days of election, we were predicting that Biden will win, and that's what happened. Now, obviously, President Trump is not conceding, and that is acceptable because he wants to stay still in limelight. So he knows deep down that he has lost the election, and days are coming when he has to go, and he will. But he wants to stay in political power. That is why he is showing resistance to stay in limelight and tell his supporters that he is still there, and he's going to be there. And my prediction is he will be a candidate in 2024. He will come back and fight. And in order for his survival, he will do all these things. He will keep his followers up front and mobilized. So he'll carry on, creating his agenda, and will not concede easily. But when time will come, democracy is so strong, and there are so checks and balances there, the transition of power will happen. So that is the writing on the wall. So that will happen, and we will see next 4 years. That will be again a big tough fight for Joe Biden to change things and bring the agenda forward. Most important time will be in January. There will be 2 runoffs in Georgia for Senate seats. It's very critical for Democratic Party to pump all their energy and funds and money into those 2 seats to win it. At least then they will have equal number of senators in the Senate to carry on their agenda.
Yeah, I think I also heard that they were pushing him to do some of these protests in Atlanta. So so at least he gets the public, and that can affect the 2 seats. So you're absolutely right. That's gonna public. What do you think, Dr. Arif?
It's really interesting.
Can we mute our mics except for the person who's talking to avoid background sound? Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm learning this as well when I teach my students via Zoom. That's what we are practicing, and Sheba is the only person who called on us for that one. Thank you, Sheba. Okay, so yeah, Dr. Moby, this is interesting scenario. I totally agree with Dr. Sabahat, the way he put it here. Things are a little bit more complicated when just I think before we started our program, like around an hour or hour and a half ago, when AG, Attorney General Barr, he paved the way for Department of Justice to intervene, and so we all know that US is a country that has layers and layers of very established strong system. Even if somebody is trying to undermine the power of vote and trying to derail it, eventually President Trump will have to concede and agree with the fact that he has to leave the White House by January 20th, the max, right? So, but overall, by doing this, he is gonna get a little bit more political support. He's gonna get so much more sympathy that like he did not deserve that kind of fate. Because it also like it satisfies his ego, that like when he is leaving, as if like something was not right. So like his fan base, his followers, they are just his diehard supporter. They're never gonna agree what the truth is, as we have witnessed in the case of COVID-19, that scientific proof that wearing mask will help you to at least avoid getting sick. But his followers, like if they were told like don't wear mask, they don't wear mask, right? So it's like it's a kind of like, and coming from a country like Pakistan, where I have witnessed these kind of like political alignments and jingoism kind of stuff. So it's interesting to see this is playing out in the United States. If you just let me quickly recap, because I want to connect it to what Shaba just said, like in the case of Florida, I want to give you update what happened in Texas. Unlike Florida, there is such a good positive news that's coming out from Texas in terms of like how the ethnic diversity and the demographic that is quickly shifting this state. So right now, even if Texas lies with Republicans, if you look at the ground realities, things are much different. First of all, President Trump won Texas by 52 point, I believe, 2% of votes.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And the difference between President Trump and Joe Biden in the state of Texas, that used to be Republican for strong, it was like a fortress for them. It was such a stronghold. It's just 6% margin. And if you look at the biggest cities, or the cities where the tech industry is, and we all know Texas is the second biggest state in the United States. It is the 10th biggest economy in the world, second biggest economy in the United States after California. So Texas, like it is becoming diverse increasingly, which is unstoppable. So 6 states remained blue. 6 cities remained blue in the state of Texas: Houston, Corpus Christi, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. All of these places are representing diversity. And then those tiny areas, like such as like West Texas or Panhandle area, where majority of red counties are there, I don't see they're gonna change quickly. But if the shift, if this dramatic shift goes on, we can predict maybe couple of years from now, maybe 1 or 2 more presidential elections later, Texas could tell a different story. So this is something I just wanted to bring that in our discussion, so that we can move forward with a little bit more context about different states. And then definitely, as Dr. Moby, you and I in the morning when we talked, like what's going to happen in the post-election, those challenges and stuff, we can touch base later. I just want to pause here so that like can hear other people.
Okay, and so let's hear from Dr. Masood. So what do you think, Dr. Masood, what happened? What will be the next? Yeah, unmute. Dr. Masood, you have to unmute. Oh yeah, you have to unmute. That's the problem.
Yeah. Like I'm quiet. So there's nobody here, but okay. So for me, the elections were very, very disappointing. I was thinking of 300 plus and everything. The blue wave, nothing happened. We are still stuck in Georgia for those 2 seats. Like Friedman just said, everybody go to Georgia, get registered and vote. Well, not possible, but yes, we need to get those 2 seats in Georgia to gain back the Senate. McConnell is still there. They are pushing it. They know, like they want to make him practically lame duck or not be able to do anything, because if they have the majority, they are not going to let him. But Biden or Harris do anything. Good point is, and well, consolation is that from everywhere there are those emails coming out that they won't be able to do anything. Being a Muslim, like they're not good for Muslim countries, all those things. But look at the big picture. We have the daughter of two immigrants who is the vice president of the United States, a female, a black person, and a brown person. So imagine the possibilities going forward in the future for our children. I'm brown, like I said before. Look at the possibility for my boy, my son Jamal. We are a minority majority county. Maryland is heavily Democratic. We have a good chance of placing our kids, different demographics, diversity in the picture. So my request to everybody listening is, okay, start running for office. Not you, your friend, your family, anybody. My nephew just won, and Robert may know that, from Cleveland Park Advisory Council for Citizens. He won the elections. And do you honestly know why and how? What happened was, like, he is an associate professor at American University. So he used to go to the meetings and everything. So one of the guys told him, why don't you run for office? He said, why should I? He said, because we are all white. And then came the discussion that we need diversity. So it is kind of a backfire. Like, you have all these people in the community, but you have only one race. So he was not interested, but sooner or later, like, people asked him to run, and he ran. He got some nasty emails, but he won. Demographics: 71% were white in the last election, 2016. 2020, 65% black all over the country. The demographics are changing. Rauf talked about the different 6 cities who are blue. Yes, people, college degrees, different ideas, they start thinking different. Majority think in a different way. Problem with the Democratic Party not reaching out to them. If we are losing blue collar, white, non-college whites, males, then it's a problem of the Democratic Party, because those were its voters. So going forward, moving into it, like, Stacey Abrams did a good job in Georgia, 800,000 more registrants, because after she lost, she made it a vendetta that she's going to enroll more people, so that in future. So still Georgia is stuck. But going to the next level, all of us need to get involved, need more people. Whoever you think wants to run, let him run. And so that we keep changing the power structure in the country. Like, I strongly believe that we should be also in the decision-making process. And especially our children, like my boy, he's born here in USA. I was born in Karachi, so he cannot even travel in the public transport in Karachi. And Moby knows that. Maybe Rauf knows that. So our kids are here. They live here. They need to be part of this country, because they are this country. Like Mubashir knows, like, my boy was a school captain of his swim team. So you see, they are born here. They don't know anybody else. They love the flag, they love the country, they love the culture, everything. So as far as I'm concerned, we need to get more involved and put our voices forward. And that was what was happening today. I have been talking to all my friends. Everybody is happy with the result. My brother said, well, we will not be able to do anything. I said, like, look at all the possibilities. Like, this is Obama's 8 years, the color faded from the psyche of the nation. Like, okay, there is a demographic, the older demographic, which still thinks in certain way. but not the kids who are born now, because they see the culture in a different way. It's all colors, and they like I'm a Muslim, my boy's roommate is a Hindu, so they don't know who they are, but they're just friends who live in an apartment in University of Maryland. So let's make this country stronger, more diverse, more progressive, and let's hope for the best.
And I think it's very important thing is, which I read, and probably it is kind of fascinating. There are probably 7 million or more Republicans, and they are upset, that Trump didn't win, but not many protests outside.
20 million.
If it was reverse, I'm sure we would have seen a lot of protests outside. But I think we should commend that they are upset, but nobody has set any problem for the law and order so far, we are very happy with that.
But Moby, we are a country of laws. It has never happened. If somebody wins, somebody loses.
Yeah.
Even Al Gore, with all the court cases, he still conceded. He said, "Okay."
Yeah, and that is important.
Can I comment?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah,
I need to comment because I haven't been heard.
Come on, Rob.
Okay. Go. Yes.
Can I comment?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to what Anwar said. So I hope I'm not gonna forget that either.
I know I haven't commented yet. Let me comment for a minute. I can't hear you.
Hey, your volume is a little bit creating problem. I think everybody else's volume is good. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I want to make 2 comments, particularly with the down in Georgia, because the runoff, as we all know, is going to take place on January the 5th. And as of Sunday, 5 million people voted in Georgia, and what separated Biden from Trump was about 10,000 votes. That Georgia runoff means a lot to the 700,000 residents of the District of Columbia, because if we are not able to win Georgia, it's not likely that DC will become a 51st state, because we need to have those 2 Democrats elected from Georgia in order for us to flip the Senate. We won the House by a slim margin, because it did pick up 6 to 8 Republican votes, but by a slim margin, Nancy still holds on to the House. But we need Georgia in order to become a 51st state in the District of Columbia. Secondly, I want to really point out what is the controversy. Divided America has spoken. And I think we know that Biden received over 74 million votes and still counting, and that Trump received the largest vote than anybody who's lost an election in the history of voting. And what this is all about, it's about white supremacy in this country. Because if Bloomberg had been on the ticket with Biden, it would have been over. If you go down to Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, you'll find out that Trump's base has been over about 55% of white America. 55% is significant. White America has been his base until the 42% has been Biden's base. And of course, the Afro-American base, as he pointed out the other day, was significant in the vote in winning. So we're talking about a racist, divided America who thinks that they still should be in charge and superior over any other race. And that's not going to be the case. Even today, Trump refused to sign off on the transitional letter, which had given Biden some space to start setting up his transition committee. I think the whole issue about being on the ticket, and one of the things that Biden had to correct during the campaign that scared white America, because he said he was only going to seek 1 term. And then white America got afraid, and the numbers came back, and Biden said, well, I'll seek a 2nd term. Because if he says I was going to seek 1 term, then we all know that Harris would be there as the standard bearer to become the president of the United States as an Afro-American woman, and also have even a white man in the White House. And this has been a huge challenge, even going back to slavery. Because back in slavery, there's always been an issue with the white woman and the black woman, because the white woman never understood why her husband would get out of bed at night and go to the slave's quarters and wait for a slave, because she didn't understand how a slave woman could be more sexually attracted to her husband. So there's always been a issue in terms of that. But when Harris became president, carrying that black bag around, scared not only just the normal average urban woman, and not only just the good boys, but I was just shocked to find out that over 55% of white America asked, the question was asked, do you want more of the same or do you want change? And over 55% of white America said they wanted the same. So that tells you something in terms of the systemic racism in this country, and white America trying to protect what they think is no longer theirs, because the planet is controlled by brown and black people. And that's the problem with this whole thing. As I said, if Bloomberg had been on that, not Bloomberg, but the governor of New York had been on that ticket, this thing would have been over, been no recount, been nothing. But because this black woman stands to become if the president of the United States carrying that all important black bag, white America says no, no, no. And that's why Trump today has all these folks to start honking their horns and turn out. You can't even buy a gun down south. All the guns have been sold out. And white America is in their mind, and hateful mind has said that they're going to declare war. They're at war with black folks in this country. And black folks are seeking peace. Can the Bible, they want peace. But white America says it's going to be a racial war. And that's not true. But they bought up all the guns. So we have a huge problem, and I don't know what it's going to take to fix it. Somebody on the line said everybody's got to come together. It's got to be a day of repentance, a day of mourning, a day of healing. And I'm not so sure. And all we can do is pray that God will step in for whoever he is, sit high and look low, and say we all are God's children. You know, we are all of God's children. We need to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And my final comment is I was very happy to be a part of the Black Men for Biden. We set up the group called Black Women for Biden. I believe we no longer are the menu. I think the work that we've done around the country and registering, not only registering, but getting the vote out for 1 million black men for Biden has been very significant as we try to do the registration and get out the vote. And I think the number will speak for itself in this unprecedented election. So I just want to make sure we understand we got to talk about the controversy and call it what it is. It's white America has resented a black woman and a mother from India, a brown and black person, being in that White House. That's what we call the White House. Now it's going to be it should change it now. It's no longer should have changed it when Obama was in there. So that's the question. Fighting for their white superiority, whatever they want to call it, their supreme thinking that they have to control the planet. Control every country. If you don't have any oil, they don't want to control you, but you got some, and something go wrong that they can go in the middle of the night and bring you out and lock you up and have you killed. So this is a day of reckoning for them. They need to get over it.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. Those are well taken. Yeah, you have a great point that there's a difference if it was all white women and white not women, even white two men, that would have been different than white. Sure, I can well understand your concern. So Sheba, I hope you didn't forget your comment.
I actually wrote it down on a piece of paper just to make sure that I wasn't going to forget it. So actually, I want to share one. One is more of a thought that I had, because I do some of that sometimes. And then the other one is kind of a follow-up and with questions to the panel about getting involved in the political sphere. So my first thought was following, of course, this is Anwar's inspiration here. So my thoughts follow your line. So whatever King was talking about, I need to jump back to what Anwar was talking about. So the first thought that I had is let's rewind a little bit when Obama first, won the election. The whole idea of hope that yes we can, and the country coming together and breaking these walls of what a president or the government should be about, and we just were like living in this other dimension that oh my God, finally we're going to enter into an America, which I call it the ocean of humanity ocean or something like that. I forgot the exact wording, but I'm sure it's going to come back. And that is beautiful for those of us who believe in equal right, who come to this country in pursuit of happiness and in pursuit of this democracy. And we want to raise our children in a country where no one actually forces them to do anything or believe in anything. So this is really a lot of what brought us on this country. And of course, financial freedom and economical education opportunities. But really the whole idea of freedom was really what brought us and living in a country with this pool of humanity, which is amazing and beautiful. And that's why I always start with hello, citizens of the world, because I truly believe that I am a citizen of the world, and I do not want to build walls, but I want to build bridges. However, it is also what led to Trumpism to emerge in this country and to rise. It's because there are people like us who believe in diversity, who believe in let's bring people together and celebrate our differences. That same positivism that exists in some of us is also like they call it, the sword, the double-edged sword, also created and amplified Trumpism in a way that now we have white supremacists and we have in the open, and there is no shame about, killing, for instance, someone on the streets with a knee, and then people don't, I'm talking about, of course, the other side. So we really have to acknowledge that us celebrating diversity and humanity created also a movement that is completely on the other side of spectrum, that is seeing the danger of us wanting to celebrate humanity and come together. Our unity is actually dangerous for them. So now, as we are celebrating this amazing, amazing, amazing woman, and when she said, I am the first but not the last, and I felt that excitement of all these young and old and every walk, all races, that excitement, I couldn't stop think of what this is gonna bring about. You know what I mean? Like the other side of the sword. Because the more we celebrate humanity, diversity, and coming together, the more the other side is gonna bring even 10 times Donald Trump's behavior and conduct and rhetoric. So the more we're trying to come together, the more extreme the rhetoric is going to become. And honestly, just looking at what we got after Obama, I'm actually right here questioning myself, what the heck are we going to get in 2024 after Harris and Biden, or Biden-Harris ticket?
Are you scared?
No, fear from Allah. I am someone who believes in Allah, and fear is from Allah. And I'm just talking about, we talk about the landscape, the demographic, what is happening. We need to see it for what it is. No one has predicted that somebody like Trump will be elected after an era of Obama, after advancing, making kind of progress, especially with racial equality. After making that progress, like, somebody mentioned here in the panel that we stopped seeing color. True, a lot of people stopped seeing color, but other people were seeing bud color. And that's why we got Trump. And now my question, as someone who is a visionary, and I wish I became a futurist, because I love analyzing the future. It's like I'm as someone because see, the thing is, you were talking about, we need to get into the political scene, and understanding these dynamics and what could be is also how we need to prepare ourselves today. So now this is just my thought, because I'm looking at the big picture of what happened, 4 years ago and whatever, many years ago. And then I'm actually questioning, and I think it's a very legit question to start bringing and asking and making sure that the people who are in the front line take that into consideration. Because if Obama's excitement brought us Trump, I can only imagine what our excitement with Biden-Harris, and again Harris, will bring us about in 4 years. I'm just sharing my thought. That's all I'm saying, and that's all I'm doing, Anwar. So I need to share it, and it's recorded, because 4 years from now, I can come back and say, see what I told you? And I wish I'm wrong. Sometimes I honestly wish I'm wrong, but a lot of times I'm not.
You have every right to think, and a lot of people think like that. I have heard this argument from a lot of people, but this is a country of laws, and are we not supposed to say what is right? Like, if we immigrated to a country which is a country of laws, where you can say the right thing, why should we not? And how can you stop history? Remember South Africa? It changed. Everything is changing. We have to assert what is ours. Like, we want to stay within the law. We want to stay within the paradigms of this country. And we will basically, we have to work for it. We have to be part of it. And we want the whole melting pot to benefit from all of, but stopping myself, I would not be able to. Why should I stop myself? I'm sorry.
No,
one thing is, I want to emphasize two things here, very important. First is, if you realize in election, everybody was afraid that, and they were saying, don't go for vote. And look what happened. Their Trump numbers actually went up. Everywhere their numbers were up. They were all way energetic to vote. But what happened? We were super energetic, and we crossed them by really a big margin. Exactly the same thing is going to happen next 4 years. If we are not energetic again and we stay at home, guess what will happen? They are going to win. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Their voters are one thing is about their voters, which whether somebody likes or not, they are very loyal, and they are very energetic. They always show up, and Mr. King, he has to work so hard to bring Democrats and other voters to make sure they vote. But for Republicans, you don't have to do all that. They will show up no matter what, and which is kind of makes our job to make sure everybody else should show up, because otherwise we lose election next one.
Well, Obama said when he was at the commencement exercise at Howard, and that's the university that Harris attended as well. Only 1 out of 4 Black college students were voting in the midterm elections. But let us not forget what happened during the Obama administration, that even the Black community is still trying to figure out what he did and what he didn't do. One thing we know for sure, that Obama surpassed executive orders from any of his predecessors, because he couldn't get anything done in the Senate. As we speak today, the Obamacare is going before the Supreme Court tomorrow for the second time. And when Obamacare first came out, to ask some of the white folks down south, do you support the Affordable Care Act? They said, oh, yes, we do. And then they turned around and asked them, do you support the Obama Affordable Care Act? They said, no. They didn't even know the difference between that. The American, the Affordable Care Act was Obama's act. But this is the second time it has gone to the Supreme Court. Trump has appointed 184 judges. 50 of these judges to the appeals court were all white. These were judges that Obama was denied during his term, 188 of them. So even when Biden gets in office, there's probably won't be any appointments until somebody retires, until somebody dies. One of the things that Biden says he's going to do, he's got to go in and dismantle half of the executive orders that Trump put in place. But poor Biden, he paid the price for being the first Black American president in that White House, because the Senate would not do anything. There were more Negro senators prior to Reconstruction than we have today in the Senate. Let's not forget that. We had more senators black Negroes then than we have today. And I think we have a Harris and maybe one on the Republican side, maybe a couple in the Senate. We don't have any black, maybe one black governor or so. There's something about white America. They let us have black mayors, but not governors and not senators. And now we're moving to get some Congress folks in there, and there are 126 women in Congress, which is a history-making thing because women are voting in this country at an alarming rate. But this thing started with Obama. He got in there, but look what the Senate did. And those senators came from those southern states all across this country and denied him to appoint somebody to the Supreme Court and denied him the right to appoint 188 judges. He did not get one single piece of legislation through. And the one that he did get some support for, Biden had to go over to across aisles and get some support for the Obamacare Act. And later it was decided by the Supreme Court. Now it's going up, I saw tonight, the same piece. It's affecting 20 million Americans in this country. The issue is being taken up for the same issue at the same time in the same court. It's ridiculous. This is what is going on in this country, and I don't know whether Allah and God, who I believe that decide this thing, that says that turn from your wicked ways and repent and I'll heal your land. And white America, as I said now, and I'll stop there. When they ask, do you want more of the same or do you want change? 53% of white America, or 55% of America did say we want more of the same. That tells you something.
May I add something?
Go ahead.
It's a fascinating discussion. I think it's also like it is also becoming from practical to being like very philosophical discussion. I am also enjoying that as well. A couple of things about the United States that I see from an academic perspective. Elections in this country are a highly sophisticated game where slightest mistake, miscalculation will cost you an election, such as Hillary Clinton. So if we look at Hillary Clinton's popular vote, if people are Democrats, if people are the ones who decide the fate, even then we had encouraging news. She had more head counts in her basket as compared to President Trump. So land does not vote, right? So now what happens among several other reasons in Hillary's campaign, it's not only the backlash, it's also that Democratic Party took for granted many things. They did not even think about all those Midwestern, upper Midwestern states at all. Their focus was where they find their cluster. So that was one miscalculation, because they were thinking that majority of the Midwestern states where education level is not high, people are mostly disconnected. They usually, those states were like sleepy states. They were never politically active. President Trump's campaign was smart enough to actually incite them, whatever way they used, like hatred and stuff. So we should think about like ground realities, how they used those people as magnets. So they've woken them up. Right? So that's one thing. Like, so it's a sophisticated game, more sophisticated than cricket that we play with several other countries, right, in Pakistan. So that's one thing we have to keep that in mind, that Democrats will have to acknowledge two things. This election, as President Biden, like President-elect Joe Biden already said, like, I owe this election to Latino community and Black communities as well. So when he owes, he has to make sure that their political engagement remains intact. We have to see it through the executive orders, through legislations and stuff. Another thing, what I would very neutrally say, during President Obama's era, it was because of his humble personality and kindness that he was apprehensive of taking several massive actions or aggressive kind of like actions, just because like he wanted to make sure like that everyone is happy. It's like we are not selling ice cream, and that's what in politics, right? That's what President Trump, I commend President Trump for one thing. Whatever he promised to his supporters, he tried to execute that there. If there were issues, he would go, and even if we totally disagree with his executive orders and stuff, but he gave every reason to his followers to have full faith on him. And now this is the time where Democrats in the White House will have to follow the same line. They have to go a little bit more aggressive, where Black community and Latino community and other ethnic diversities feel the same way. Yeah. That when we came out, when we got united, that there is every other reason 4 years from now that we can fall back and say, yeah, we did a right thing. They should not be politically disengaged. Second, of course, as I think Dr. Anwar Masood, I believe, or Sabahat, I'm sorry, I forgot, somebody mentioned about Georgia election. I think that's for Senate race. That's very important. Right now it's tied 48, right? So we have to make sure like that Senate also lies with Democrats so that like there is smooth legislation. So these are those couple of things they were coming back to my mind. I'm a person who believes in faith and stuff, but I think politics is a little bit more than a faith. It's more of a strategic decision making. And Democrats got one more chance. At least this election is, to me, is just sending a statement. Maybe majority of the people, they voted in order to send the statement that this country still believes in more ethics, more diversity, more conclusiveness than hatred. And that's a good news. At least at this point, we need to celebrate it, but we should not forget there is a lot more work to do, and we should continue doing that.
So let's come to, I think, some of the suggestions which you would like. One by one, we can go on constructive. So whatever happened and what happened, I think your discussion points are so good. I really love it because, this is a problem with Democrats. Their decisions are always calculative. They always want to go by, okay, is it going to be more favorable or not favorable? No, do your thing. What you promise people. And that's true. Trump is, whatever we like or dislike, he would do in heartbeat. He would not have second thought. He doesn't like that, and which people like too, actually. So I wish we had similar president who would just fulfill promises. If he promised or he had to take care of Latinos, Black, and other ethnics, he should think of that. He should be thankful to all the Black females, especially, and Black and other ethnics who really supported him. And same stands for our ethnic Asians too. We really supported Biden. A lot of our fellows and Muslims, they really worked for him. So I think he should look for all of us. We have high hopes. I wish he does what exactly Trump does for Republican Party. So I think then you're absolutely right. Then there won't be any of this calculation whether next time somebody is going to win or not. Right, Sheba? So, Sheba, any final thoughts?
Well, final thoughts. I definitely echo both of you, Dr. Arif and Dr. Moby, about Democrats need to stop. They absolutely must stop being apologetic. They have an agenda. They have a belief system. They have a pathway that a lot of us believe in, and so I think they need to get over themselves and stop being. Sometimes it's not everything bipartisan. It's not. So sometimes, as a leader, you make a decision and you assume the consequences, and for God's sake, stop being apologetic. So the other thing is, I love Anwar's thought earlier, that was my second point, is to see more of us become more active in the political scene, which actually I am giving some thoughts. However, I am not a political science major whatsoever. And so maybe this can come as a question. What can we do for our people within our communities? Because I know another Algerian gentleman as well who is in Texas, who is interested in getting into politics. And I hope it's not like the New Year's resolution. Every time the election happens, we get all heated up, and it's like, yeah, we need to be part of, more proactive, and then a month, 2 months in the making, and then we just go back into our normal life, and then we stop working out, like New Year resolution sort of thing. So the question is, what can we do to really support members of our community to put them into these positions? And what about if we identify people who actually have what it takes? Because politics is not for everybody. Being out there and standing up for what's not right is not for everybody. So what can we do to really put in the front line these people that we feel like they have talent and whatever it takes to help our cause as Muslims slash Africans? For me, like, I like to joke around and say I'm African American, which is true. No offense, Mr. King, but I do. I am from the mothership. So what can we do to help people within our community to really be successful in this endeavor? And then just, more of us, more voices for us.
The future of this country lies in the hands of the millenniums, which will outnumber the baby boomers coming around very shortly. And I think Black Lives Matter, the difference between when I protested with King and Stokely Carmichael and all those folks back in the 60s, and we had a few nice clergy from around the country. And the difference is between the protests I participated in is that you see brown, white, green, all different colored folks in these protests. And I think the future of our country certainly lies in their hands in terms of running for local elections where they've had somebody 18 years old become a mayor around the country. The House is divided against itself, and we know a House divided against itself cannot stand. I know when I talk about Biden, Harris is a very controversial matter. We can't run away from it. It's systemic racism in this country. And when all this election was about divided America, when Trump could get more votes as a losing president in the history of this election with a tremendous base, he had 74 million people that he tweaked to every day. That's substantial. So when you can get on the phone and tweak and go to a rally about 10, 20, 30,000 people, then you use your phone to do that. This is very serious. When we all had the same question, it's almost like the devil and God asking us at this time. God is saying, Allah, choose me or the devil. Well, the devil is doing pretty good because a lot of people are choosing the devil. We all had the same question as voters in this country. Probably well over, I don't know what the final count, but over 100 million people or so voted. Biden got 74 county. The question was asked. And I want all of us on this panel, sometimes you have to look and see, do you want more of the same, or do you want change?
Change.
And white America said overwhelmingly, 53% or 54% of whites said they wanted more of the same. That's the problem. They wanted more of the same. And if you go down and look at Georgia and see the number of white folks who voted for Biden and the number of white folks who voted for Trump, go to South Carolina and see the number of white people who voted for Biden and Trump. It's going to make some breakdown. Go to North Carolina and look down south and see the numbers who voted, and you'll see that was a problematic chance. And with all being impeached and being a racist and lying about the lying about the virus and the list goes on and on. And white America made it clear to us. And Latinos and blacks carried this thing over the finish line. That's a high number, ladies and gentlemen. 55, I think, close to white America said they wanted more of the same. Good. And the Republican Senate came out today to stand behind the president because he's not going to make any concessions until he exhausts everything in the court. We know that in Georgia, it's too down there. I think you can get a recall and don't have to pay for it. Like that. He's going to exhaust all that. How you not give Biden the letter so he can set up his transition office downtown? He denied that request today. So let's stay with what really happened. They wanted more of the same.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear about that.
Yeah. Let me apologize to Shaba. I'm sorry, maybe I came a little more direct. I really apologize. But thank you so much for bringing your perspective. We are here to hear different voices.
What are you apologizing about?
Like I said, are you
He's
scared? I'm
Democrat.
so sorry.
No. By the way, you're a Democrat, right?
I am a Democrat. I'm a
I
blue
just said 2 seconds ago, stop apologizing. So we're good. We're good. I didn't take it, it's not really fear. It's something that you have to take, it's anticipation. Yeah. I mean, if we talk about people who, like right now, I'm all fired up and I really want to be more involved in the political scene and all. But it's like it probably can go away, in a month or two, and I'll just go back to my habits. However, I think it's something that needs to be be in our perspective.
Coming back to running, like all we have to do is join the mainstream, join the city council, the county, the state, and move on forward. And first, like if anybody wants to run, we need to have small organizations. Anybody like political activists of Cleveland Park or any small community. I was president of Montgomery County Muslim Council. So we were trying to make more Muslims run for office, and we had plans and we had everything. Yes, it's a good thing. So when you have a card, you are accepted everywhere. You are invited everywhere. So make small organizations. And if you want to go the Muslim route, get the congregation. You collect every Friday. We collect every Friday. So we need the congregation behind us. And when you go to the city council or something, you said, hey, I have 2,000 votes with me. Do you know they will open all the doors for you? So keep moving that way. Join them. It's up to the person, either the Muslim route or the mainstream route. I would prefer the mainstream route. Just go in, prove your mettle, tell them that how good you are, and if you are good, honestly, you will be invited and you will be allowed to sit with them on the table. So just keep pushing it. Move on. Think about your children, where you want to place them. Never like step back or think that it's not going to happen. It's a beautiful country. It's a great country. Let's be part of it. That's all.
Actually somebody asked the question about why there are not many, people who are not running for office. And the answer that one of the actually retired doctors mentioned is that a lot of people don't want to be dealing with the rhetoric of the politics right now, attacks and insults. And some people, they have, skeleton in their closets. And if, nobody wants to, kind of dry or wash their dirty linen in public like that. And I think that's probably why a lot of people are turned off by the political scene. It's not about agendas and policies anymore. It's about, yeah, you smoked pot when you were 15 years old in college or in high school, and that becomes a crime. So I think this is why a lot of people, they're very, very hesitant about entering the political scene.
Mm-hmm. Final thoughts, Dr. Rauf? Unmute.
Okay, now, yeah, it's good. So may I add a little bit over here? As they say, charity begins at home. So I believe this has to get started, particularly when you guys, I have still to witness like how parenting goes. But for those people who have kids, they are millennials, and they are actually entering in real world experience. I would suggest as parents, they need to have discussion at their dinner tables most of the time, why it is important to have a positive political activism and positive political role. And this role does not have to go like such at massive scale or bigger level. Rather, it has to get started from minor things, taking care of your community and being positive part of the community, right? Bridging those gaps, or building bridges rather than those walls, as I think Shaba said, and I love that, right? So that kind of like role has to get started. So we have to inculcate in our youth, in our younger generation, this habit, just like the habit of using smartphone is there, so they can utilize. And I said earlier, this is a highly sophisticated game. Once we really want to make a difference, we have to have a common pool of resources, because like money plays a significant role. Even like when President Trump has to go for recounts, all his campaign is doing, hey, give us money, right? So we have to have that kind of pool, have some smart communication strategist people on your side, and buy their services. Let's be honest, it's like, otherwise it's gonna be a random like hit and run kind of like method. Sometimes it works, it does not. So let's start like from smaller steps. Baby steps are first, and then go bigger. So this is a conversation. Maybe Dr. Mobby, we can have a separate program, entire program.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think we have reached 1 hour of important discussion. Congratulations, everyone, passing 1 hour. Okay, great. So I think with that, I don't know if Dr. Subhath is available. Dr. Subhath, are you available for final thoughts, or? Oh yeah, he is available. Dr. Subhath, any final thoughts you have?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I can hear you.
now we should look post election tasks for President-elect Joe Biden and the Democratic Party in general. The Democratic Party should concentrate in bringing right or left element towards the center to tell a party for the future. As I mentioned earlier, the time will come in 4 years, and the Democratic Party will be challenged by this 1,000-pound gorilla. So you have to make sure you are bringing all the rightists and leftists in the Democratic Party to the center on the agenda, which all agree and move forward. He has to fulfill his promises, which he has made in his election. Right? He should do his best to achieve those goals, and he should not disappoint any of his supporters. We should keep this in mind. There are a lot of diversity in his supporters here: youngsters, moderates, so he has to bring all of them on board and elect his key positions in such a way he can satisfy all of them. If he is successful in achieving the agenda, it is a great success for him, for the country, and for the party. These are my last comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, I thank everybody, and hopefully we'll see everybody again sometime. Great panel. Thank you, everybody, for coming and tuning in. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.